Hey, wando, hey, ho, hey, wando, hey. Hey, wando, hey, ho, hey, wando, hey. Hey, wando, hey, ho, hey, wando, hey. I want to welcome everyone back to the channel, Real Natives. I do appreciate everyone that tuned in, everyone that liked, everyone that subscribed. We did take a break there for a moment. I have so much content on my 3 phones that I had to get some of that out, even though some of the content is dated. My next guest here, I want to go ahead and introduce yourself, sister. Tell them who you are, your name, and your tribal affiliation. And as they would say in the native world, who are your people? Oh,
Oh, hi, my name is Maria Washington, and I'm a member of Big Valley Rancheria. And my people are my father is Frank Del Val, grandmother Elizabeth Holmes, and grandfather is Joseph Del Val. Um, and a little bit about myself, I grew up off the res, and um, it was really hard growing up. I can remember far as back being 8 years old with a single mom. No, my dad wasn't in the picture at the time and didn't know too much of Native background at all, but I did have a struggle. And when I did locate my dad, it was so similar. So growing up in the city, I grew up in San Jose, California, grew up single mom, struggled on food stamps, welfare my whole life. And I had a daughter when I was in 8th grade. And after having my daughter, I thought I was grown and I could do all kinds of stuff, and I battled with drug addiction for quite some years in and out of juvenile halls and prisons and all those institutions that, I thought was cool. And I finally grew up. I was probably about 18, I thought, 18, 19. I started growing up and started to search for my dad. I found my dad when I was 20. It took me about a year to locate him and my Pomo background. My dad was in prison, and I kind of did like a search looking for him and just found him within like 1 week and wrote my dad this letter, told him, who I was. I was born to my mother at this hospital at this time. If he thought he was my dad, to, kind of reach out to me. And he did. My dad was coming home in 30 days. And then I went up to meet him, and I felt so connected. I felt disconnected growing up in the city, but when I hit the res, it was like this immediate, like when I fell in my dad's arms, I'll never forget the feeling. You know, it was like I belonged there, and so um yeah, I got to meet all my cousins, my family. My grandmother Elizabeth Holmes was still around at the time, so I got to have some good memories with her down at the lake at the point, and she got to tell me so many stories about things, and I connected so well. Um, I did continue in my disease of addiction, and I battled with a lot of wondering if I was lesbian or if, I was supposed to be straight. I wasn't sure. So I kind of battled back and forth for about 6 years or so until I was about 26. Um, just trying to figure out who I was, and I wasn't sure if it was accepted. So I used to like hide it. So I kind of went back and forth between, this one guy that was probably really, really bad for me and a girl that I felt really comfortable with. And so I hid it a lot. And I can remember the first time telling my mom and my dad. The first person I told was my mom, and my mom was like pissed off. She was so mad, upset. She kind of didn't talk to me for about a week, but I felt good that I got it off my chest. Um, and I can remember telling my dad, I picked him up from San Quentin prison, and I had my girlfriend in the car at the time. Now she's my wife. Had her in the car, and I was like, "Daddy, I want you to meet my girlfriend." And he must have just went crazy. I could see him like wanting to choke her from behind. And my dad ended up really, really loving her. My dad is no longer with us, Frank Del Val. He passed away about 3.5 years ago. And him and my wife had the most amazing and beautiful relationship. And after, letting all of that out, um, my girlfriend and I, we were both in drug addiction. So what we did was we had this fallout and we just kind of went our ways. And when we went our ways, we both found recovery. To this day, right now, I have about 19 and a half years clean and sober. Um, Growing up in the city in Narcotics Anonymous was amazing because there was so much foundation, there was so much strength, and then like it was so okay to be LGBT in the city, you know. So for me, my recovery and my journey was like it was really really amazing. I got clean in East Richmond in a recovery home out there in attack therapy. I used to battle back and forth with my parole officer. In between all of that, I jumped a little bit. I went to prison, and my parole officer used to get so mad at me. I used to run from him and deny my disease of addiction. And finally, I just said, you know what, I'll go to recovery. So I went to recovery in East Richmond, got clean, and a whole lot of my recovery was working on myself and the people I hurt, which was my parents, my family, and this one dear friend of mine was my girlfriend. I hurt her so much, and I had to work through the process. And the process was the 12 steps for me. The 12 steps saved my life. Um, I then got clean, and my wife and I, we kind of went different ways for quite some time. I got married, and she got married, and just so happened like we got divorced at the same time, like 2 weeks apart, returned back to San Jose, California. She lived one street, I lived on the next street. And yeah, like we haven't separated since then. Like I said, I have like 19 years clean. My dad's still not around, but you know what? He's with me in my spirit. He guides me and he protects me and he comforts me. I could feel him here, and my wife, she's my best friend. And like I've graduated high school 3 years ago, and now I'm in college as we speak. I go to Merced College, pursuing a couple of degrees right now, so I can return back to those streets of San Jose or maybe on the res. I don't know where my journey is leading me. I want to help the people. I want to go back and help the people that I left behind because they say go back. You return the hand that fed you. And so I need to go back and I need to go help some people out there, I feel. And I don't know where it is. It could be in another state, it could be in Hawaii, I hope. I don't know where it is. So yeah, that's just a little bit about myself and my people.
I do appreciate your honesty here. So, you had mentioned being in prison. So the channel is about, for those that are fairly new tuning in, it's about reservation, incarceration, rehabilitation, civilization, and most important of all, culture preservation. So there might be some young girl out there, young woman out there, young guy out there that's venturing into the wrong path. What was it like being a Native American woman going into prison? Is it like the guys, do they have a car? Are they together, or did you go in there? Is it structured like that? Or if you mind telling a little bit about how shocking it was, how old were you, or just a little bit about the prison aspect? Oh,
So being in prison, like I said, I went in and out for about 7 years. I rolled over my number. I was a W number, so it was kind of way back when. And I don't know what they're on, like ABC or now or where they're at. But for the women, I believe it's a little bit different. I didn't go in knowing too much about the Native American culture, so I didn't really join anything that was going on in there. As far as like gangs and getting in a car, yeah, San Jose tried to get me in their car, but I never got in it. I never joined. I never participated in that stuff. I was always solo bolo and just, stayed to myself and kind of just stayed focused. And being in there for me was an eye opener. I used to have a lot of in recovery, they call them what are those called? Spiritual awakenings. I had some spiritual awakenings while I was in there, and they were really amazing. And I paid attention to them. People used to be like, I think she's on drugs, don't give her nothing. And I'm like, this is me. I'm all the way sober in here, because there is drugs in the women's prison. It was a little rough. There was fights and stuff like that, but I never, like I said, joined. So a lot of girls thought I was like on something because I just wasn't, I was different. I knew I was different. I knew there was a different path for me and a journey. And I used to ask myself, am I going to ride for the homeboys or am I going to ride for like who I really am? Like, am I going to change my life is what I'm trying to say, you know, like, or am I going to stay loyal to these people that aren't loyal to me? And growing up in San Jose, it's very gang infested. I had a lot of run-ins with like people teaching me the ways of, you know, the northern world that I was supposed to be, because San Jose is, you know, northern. And I was like, you know, like I'm not really meant for that. You know, I'm a woman, you know, I felt different. So I never really joined anything or participated in anything. And it was really funny because I had just met my dad the year prior, and I was rolling in prison, and they called my name, Maria Del Val. And I remember, I don't want to share her name, but I love her to dear death. And she knows who she is if she's watching. She turned around and she's from my res and she's like, "Hey, are you from Big Valley Rancheria?" And I was like, yeah. She's like, "You're native?" I was like, yeah, we were in receiving. And she's like, "Is your dad Frankie Delval or Fred Delval?" And I'm like, "My dad's Frank." And it was so weird because if I wouldn't have met my dad the year prior, I would have met my dad in there through this woman. And it was so amazing. Like all these, my spiritual awakenings, meeting her and like knowing I was different. Like I knew I didn't belong in the prison system. I was literally scared I was going to get stuck in there for being loyal to the streets, you know? So loyalty doesn't take you that far, you know? Like I felt like I was going to get a case and for life, like the way I was rolling out there and being bad and, you know, just corrupting everything that I touched. And so I was like, you know, there got to be a change. So my spiritual awakening, though, getting back to that, was I was sitting in chow hall and I can hear whistling. You know, it gets live in there, kind of like the men's prison. They were whistling. There was older women checking out younger girls, and all the stuff was going on. And I remember I had crocodile tears just coming down, and the fan was going, and it was hot summer day, and everybody was sweating, and I could just hear chaos going on around me. And I heard a whistle, and they were like, "Get up, you know, it's time to leave." And I was like, and I was so shooken, and my eyes. I remember paying more attention after my first spiritual awakening in prison, and then Victory Outreach came out and did a big concert, and there was I Can Only Imagine this song, and there was the deaf signers, and she was signing, and she looked so beautiful, and it touched my heart and my soul. And when I got out of prison after doing back and forth, you know, I didn't change right away. It took me a couple times to learn. I was in and out of prison for the 7 years. Probably the longest I stayed out was like 8 months. Back on a violation, new case, violation, new case. And so that's kind of a little bit about my prison background.
Yeah, most people don't know about San Jose. San Jose is pretty rough. You know, most cities are like down there, Fresno, LA,
Mhm.
Bakersfield. You know, most people up Northern California, you know, are used to the smaller, you know, rough cities as well, like Santa Rosa, which is fairly small compared to the other location. I myself was from the Manchester, and people know that's like a really, real small. There's probably more people in Walmart than there are on the res right now, or Retcheria, you know. And you know,
Yeah.
times do change, and I do appreciate your honesty and sharing that information. So at what point did you say, this is it, this is enough, I'm tired of going in and out? What was that final straw that said, I'm done? Tell a little bit about that. Oh.
I'm done. So I'm done was when they gave me an option to roll over because I already been rolled over my number in prison. They were like, you know, we'll give you this opportunity to either you go to this drug program or that's it. You're gonna roll over again. And I knew I was stuck in the system because there was nothing changing. I was being a knucklehead. I was running the streets. I was getting out, going to the same people, same place, doing the same thing that I left doing. They sent me to this drug facility in San Francisco. It was on eighth floor in the towers. It was a non-talking floor, and I went through this program, non-talking facility, graduated it, went to East Richmond. That program saved my life. It was an attack therapy, and they used to man. They would break you down to build you up, and I knew um, I'm a Native American. There was a spirit in me that spoke to me, and I was fighting against it. I didn't know what I wanted: bad, good, lesbian, straight. I just didn't know. And so for me at the time, I graduated that THU program and I went back to San Jose, and I was so scared, Sal. Oh my God, I was scared. I hit San Jose again and I was freshly clean. And I had like probably 2 years at that time. And I just went to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting and I spoke up and I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm back. I'm scared. I'm going to die if I don't get help. And I just spoke up for myself and I reached out, and um, people started helping me. They started helping me. I was sleeping on people's couches, and I have family in San Jose, but I chose to stay away because I hurt them and damaged them so much. My mom moved. I didn't know where she was, getting released from prison, going back to her house, and there was nobody there. So I stayed in there for a little bit at times, and I damaged her. So I chose to stay with Narcotics Anonymous and sleep on people's couches and stuff. And um, enough is enough is when I ran into my pastor. I joined a Christian home for 7 years. I was in there, but I kept running into this man, and I was like, the spirit was speaking to me, and it was saying, like, there's something about that man. Well, my friend's mom invited me to church, and downtown San Jose, and it was like a lot of homeless, it was like a church, evangelistic church. And I went and I seen the pastor there, and I was like, hey, he was at the pro meeting. I seen him in town. I seen him at church, so I listened to what he had to say. And he was saying he had a women's home. He said he had a women's home, and there was somebody in there today that he was speaking to. And so I went up and I asked him for their phone number and I took off. And I was scared to death to change. And I was like, creator, I just need somebody to give me that opportunity to change. I need one person to give me a roof over my head. Stability is what I really needed because I didn't have stability. My mom and my relationship wasn't the greatest. My daughter's dad moved on. He was living in Stockton. Like, I didn't have a bond with my mom, my daughter. I had kind of nothing. And I said, God, just help me find, a home. I just need somebody to give me a chance. And boom, they put him in front of me again. I seen my pastor again, and I said, okay, enough is enough. And I entered into the women's recovery home, and I stayed there for about 7 years.
I do appreciate your honesty. You're real authentic, and I do appreciate that. That's why we call this Real Natives. So I got a couple more questions for you. I do appreciate your time. So actually, this is more of any words of wisdom to the next generation, or of encouragement to the next generation. Oh,
Most definitely. So never change for somebody, change for yourself. Love yourself, love your people. If you have an opportunity out there, man, grasp it now. Because I used to tell my younger brother, what do you want to know? Because I'll tell you right now, you want to know about the backpacks, you want to know about the streets, you want to know about the gangs, you want to know about jail, prison, institutions, what? I'll tell you to help save you. So if there's any way that you guys need to link out to me, somebody has that burning desire to reach out to me. I don't know a Sal post, how to get a hold of us, but please message me. I will put anything aside that I am doing to help you, speak to you. Never think that you're by yourself, because you're not. There's always somebody out there willing to listen to you and give you that opportunity. And they gave it to me. So I got to give it right back to them. And as far as like the LGBTQ goes, it is hard coming out. It's hard coming out. It's hard being who we really are. But when you're your authentically self, no one's not going to love you. They're going to love you because you are who you are. The creator made you the way you are. So don't deny that. Be freely. And like I said, if you need me, I'm right there to listen and help you, guide you, protect you, and to serve my people. That's what, I'm here for. So never believe that, there's not change, because there is. Keep growing.
oh, I do appreciate that. The last question is, who do you consider a hero, or who do you want to say thank you to publicly that helped you become the person who you are today? Oh,
Well, you say that and it touches me, because there's a lot of people. But when I think about that question rootfully, like my mom, my dad, yeah. Um, the people that opened up their home to me at the time was the pastor and his wife. And I thank them. They taught me how to take off this hard shell and become a woman, and I thank them for that. Instead of wearing red and being hard and dressing like a boy and just hardcore from San Ho, and they taught me how to wear high heels and how to wear earrings, and how to be gentle and soft and kind. And I remember walking in the pastor's room, she's like, put those heels on with that skirt, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And I put them on, and I was walking and boom, like sprang my ankle, and I was all mad at her, and I said, I don't think this is for me. And I used to battle, and I thank her for that, because she didn't give up on me. She loved me, um, and guided me. She guided me how to be a woman, and protected me, from going back out in the world. So I thank my pastor and his wife for changing me to the woman I am today.
I do appreciate you taking time out to do this interview, tell your story, and leave it behind. And after all, we do evolve in life. And like I stated earlier in the beginning when we had a little briefing, that I, haven't had a substance in over 20 years. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. But people remember me as a 18 years old to 28. They don't, and they still remember me for that part. And I'm doing this so I could show them that I'm not that same person. We evolve. We have to move on and encourage people and help people to let them know, hey, I've been down that road. Don't go down there. Hey, I've been over there. Don't go down there. Follow this path and you're going to be okay. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I live by. And it's like every now and then I'll look in the rearview mirror, but like driving, I don't look back there because I'm going to crash. I just keep going. I look back, glance, and man, I got to keep moving. So I keep moving on. So I do appreciate you coming on and being authentic. So with that being said, I do appreciate everyone tuning in and liking. We do have some cups coming out. If you're interested in some cups, we do have that. Let's get up to 500 subs. And again, we will do another raffle and we will announce who the winner is. So with that being said, I want to say, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey,